I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Today we're trying out some new arrows. These are Icepoint from Pandarus. They're the .003 because I was like, well, there's really no difference between 003 and 001. So, and I'm going to say my other arrows were .001s, but in testing I've done before, I've seen no difference in scores, so I was like, well, I might as well get .003. I've got Pandarus Nox, just the standard points that it comes with, and the Pandarus spin wings because they were easy to stick on. Okay, these are a 450 spine. So what you want with a recurve, and the first thing I'm going to say is shooting archery is really hard. Right, so it's really hard, and it's even harder with the recurve. And people are going to say, well, the longbow's harder, and I'm not going to disagree. I'm just saying it's hard. Because I get so many beginners who think, well, they should just be able to hit the middle all the time, and when they blow up their bow, well, it wasn't their problem. It's really hard. Okay, to get the same arrow to go in the same hole every time is really hard, and it's years of training. And the reason I'm trying these arrows is I'm hoping for a score improvement. So my other arrows were 500 spine, so I've got 500 Icepoint. And I found that the CA320s, which were Pandarus also, like an X10 arrow, aluminium carbon, I found I grouped a little bit better with them. They seemed to tune a little bit better, and I think that's because they were heavier on a lighter poundage, I found, and I shot my Australian record with Icepoints. I just found that the heavier arrows tuned a little bit better. Okay, so now I'm going to go up to, I tried 400 spine yesterday. They came out too stiff, so the bare shaft was way out to the left. But the grip was really good, and I was like, well, how would I go with 450 spine? So last night, in the dark, I went to the shop and grabbed some of these. .003, 450, and we're going to try them. Now, with all my videos, I haven't shot these arrows yet. This is me trying them. I shot them last night in the house at 8 o'clock last night, and I did a little post on Instagram. 4 arrows at 3 meters, and they tuned at 3 meters, right, inside my house, because it was dark and cold. So this is me trying them. Now, I'm going to say, with my other 500 spined arrows, I shot great with them. I've shot scores indoors of up to 290s. But recently, since the heart surgery and all that sort of stuff, and since I've moved back up to this poundage, my scores have varied from, let's say, 250 to 281, 282. Okay, I tend to be sitting around the 270s, 275. I probably average, and I'm going to say the reason for that is my form and technique is not as good as it needs to be. My shoulder's not in the right position. It hurts to get it there, and I'm not getting the rotation around my shoulders the way I want it. I'm still building my shoulders, so a lot of what I'm doing now is I'm doing cardio to build up my lung capacity because my lungs are still not great, and I'm doing a fair bit of weights to try and strengthen my shoulders, to make my shoulders work better. The pressure, the pain off my chest has gone, largely gone. So I'm doing heavier weights now, and I'm starting to feel it more in my back now. So last national, so out of heart surgery, I had massive pain here, and I couldn't really feel anything in the back, but I shot okay. I shot pretty good. I was very happy with it, but it was more of a thing of, can I get through this shoot? And it was a real issue whether I could get through the shoot. I was like, am I going to do myself damage? Where this year, there's no question about damage. I just want to get back to shooting reasonable scores. So as you go up in bow poundage, you need the arrows to match, and it's really hard. And you could adjust the limb bolts. I'm not a big fan of changing limb bolts to try and get the arrows to work for the bow. But I thought, well, let's go for 450s and see how they shoot. So this is me shooting these arrows. I'm going to say on all the arrows I've tested, look, there's very little difference, especially on compound. So on my compound bow, look, I shoot about the same scores with all the arrows I shoot. So I would like to say there's an arrow that shoots 10% or 5% or 3% better. There wasn't. I've shot the same scores with pretty much all of them. There are some arrows I think are better than other arrows for durability and quality and all that sort of stuff. But the reason I picked these is they're thin. They're a 3.2, which is like an X10 thickness. So in the wind, and my first tournament's indoors, for the wind, less likely to be affected, which isn't going to make much of a difference because, again, it gets back to me. It's just I shoot so much. I shoot every day. I'm like, well, these arrows should be okay. Let's see how 450 spine goes. Now, when choosing the vanes, I had the option of going for the KSL vane, which I'm very happy with on my 320s. But my 320s have got little lines to show me where to stick them. And I do have the wing thing fletching jig to stick the KSL vanes, but I was like, well, let's stick with these because I had these vanes on my 400 spine and I shot really well with them last night. So let's see how 450 goes. Okay, so in this scenario, I haven't done anything, right? So I've wound back the tension on my plunger 2 turns. So I've wound the tension off 2 turns because I think they're a slightly stiffer spine than 500s. The 500s I had a fairly stiff spine, fairly stiff on the plunger, so I've just like, let's soften it up a bit and just see how it goes. A lot of what I do is just trial and error. I'm just like shoot. Let's try the arrows with, you know, one spine off. And there'll be people who say, well, you should do paper tuning, you should do bare shaft tuning, you should do walk back tuning and all that sort of stuff, and that's all great. I shoot for scores, and I'm like, let's try one turn, see if it makes a difference. Shoot scores, then go back and shoot scores. Like, that's kind of what I do. And then when I'm doing like 90 meters and stuff or field, that's when I do the other sort of tuning. So, all right, so that's where we're up to. So again, I'm going to say, if you're doing good shots, the arrows go in the middle. And what I'm sort of hoping for here is the arrows to go in the middle and me still to do pretty crappy shots. So, and the other thing I cut these arrows back a smidge because my clicker was right on the edge, and just in case I was struggling getting through the clicker, I wanted to have that little bit of adjustment, so I cut them that much shorter. So, alright, let's see how we go. Again, with when you cut arrows shorter, it takes a while for you to get used to the form and technique. Maybe my clicker's not in enough, so I'm going to say when I was shooting good, and I can remember shooting good, shooting the recurve was very similar to shooting the compound. I was getting very tight groups. The arrows were crunching up to each other. I was blowing heaps of knocks off, and I was very happy. And it gave me a sense of happiness. Where right now, what I'm focused on, my goals are to improve my strength, improve my fitness. So the fact that I'm shooting poor scores, like, it worries me, but it doesn't worry me because I'm bigger picture stuff. Get fitter, get healthier, get stronger, eat better. They're the priorities. The scores are secondary. I figure the scores will come later. Now I've got a young man in South Australia. He used to shoot these cheap knocks from Pandarus. I'm going to say they're a copy of an Eastern knock. It's just they're a lot cheaper, right? Eastern knocks are, let's say, $30 a dozen, and these are $5 a dozen. So he used to shoot these, now he's shooting the biter knocks. Look, I do feel the difference. I feel that the plastic on these are slightly softer, and the biter plastic is slightly harder, like the Fivix plastic in the knocks. and he thinks it's worth a couple of points for a round. So now I'm going to say he won the national championships using a cheap knock. He's now shooting biter knocks, and he's shooting better than he did at the nationals. Whether it's part of his progression, and he's got bigger and he shot more and all this stuff, he does have better limbs now, higher quality limbs. But overall, this points difference is not much. It's like a few points. So for me, I'm still happy shooting cheap knocks because I'm going to say I don't want to spend $30 on a dozen knocks. Now when you try new stuff, like this is the first end, like it means nothing, okay? It means nothing. I'm just here doing the video, explaining what I'm doing. What I'll go through and do is I'll shoot ends and ends and ends for the next week, 2 weeks, with these arrows. Providing they're flying okay and everything, but they should. Half a spine, I'm going to say 450, between 400 and 500, I call them half spines. Half spines like a little bit of difference. A full spine, you'll see the difference, but half spines, you don't, like, it's just a little bit. It's more than changing the points. So I get people go, look, I changed the point weight and I didn't see much difference. No, you don't see much difference. It's Eastern used to have like these screw-in points for X10s where they changed the point grain weight like 3 grains. You can change them 20 grains and you barely see the difference. And they were like, well, you can go for 46 grains or 43 grains. I just wish I knew this stuff when I was a kid, because I was like, whoa, must be really important. No, it's not. Nothing's important. What's really important is you practice a lot and get good technique, good form. So maybe the clicker's too far forward and I need to move it back because obviously I pulled it through a couple of times. One thing I'm looking for here is I'm looking for my arm. I'm going to say this part of my arm to be in line with the arrow. And I don't think it is at the moment. I think I'm moving away. I don't think I'm putting enough pressure in the back. I think my shoulder's too far down. It needs to be up higher. So I engage more of my back muscles. That's all okay. It's a work in progress. Many times I say I'm not that critical on myself. I'm more happy. I give myself more positive reinforcement than negative reinforcement, if that makes sense. It's like, oh, I was happy my hand came back. I'm happy with this. I may have stuffed up 100 things, but I'll focus on the 2 good things that I did. Like, I'm getting stronger, so good thing. Shaking less. I can hold up the bow more. A lot of people focus on negative, and as a result, it gets them down when they shoot, and as a result, they don't want to go back out there and do it. Okay, so for me, it's like I want to come and do this. I want to get stronger. I've got an option to sit inside and play on a computer, watch a movie, weed the garden, or I can shoot some arrows and get stronger and get healthier, calm my mind, all that sort of stuff. All the positives that come with archery. I think part of it's the improvement too. It's like I'm going to work for a goal. Like I'm working for the goal for the Nationals in about 3 to 2 weeks. Someone's going to say it's in 3 weeks. That's my goal, to improve for then. And I like to shoot a 280. I shot 285 last year at the Nationals. That's my goal. If I could do a 285, that would be amazing, because my highest in practice or at the club is 281 for the past months and months. I can't see where the arrows go down there. Look, some of them are going in the middle, I think. I can't see the groups. But they seem alright. I'm not getting marks on the bow. It feels okay. The bow sounds okay. It's all okay. Okay, so on these arrows I went for stainless steel points because they come with stainless steel points. The stainless steel point, the shaft goes up inside the arrow, which makes the arrow a little bit stiffer than a normal tungsten point. Part of my reasoning for going with the stainless steel points that they come with is the cost of tungsten points is about $120 odd, and if I'm going to stick with the 450s, then I'm probably going to get 2 or 3 dozen of them, and just to keep the cost down. Nothing else than that. I haven't seen a difference in tungsten points versus stainless steel points. Tungsten are stronger. You can't really bend them. People can say yes, you can. Look, that's stronger than stainless steel. Saying that, on all my stainless steel points I've ever had, they're pretty good. I don't recall bending them, and I'm sure I have bent them, but for the cost of a stainless steel point, which may be $2.50 or $3 a point or $2 a point, versus a tungsten point which is $10 a point, like, I'm happy to replace it. Okay. Okay, so up here at the target, you could obviously see because I have another camera filming this, which hopefully worked. Look, I'm really happy with this little group out here. The arrows to the left are generally because I moved my hand out to the side and the release is not clear. If I get an arrow to the right, it's because I let go of my fingers slowly. And what I was finding with the 500 spined arrows and this poundage, that I was getting quite a few arrows out to the right. Okay, so when I just release my fingers a bit slow, they'll come to the right. So what I was going to say is I was finding them less forgiving, and while I was not shooting well, I didn't think I was shooting that bad. Okay, so that's where I was at, and that's why I was trying these arrows. The height's great, which I'm happy with. So like the height's basically pretty good. A little bit of left and right, but I'm very happy with that. The group's very tight there. I'm very, very happy with this group. So with this now, I go through and I shoot scores with these arrows. I shoot 10 arrow ends, so 3 ends to form an indoor round, and today I will shoot at least 3 indoor rounds. At least, hopefully do 4, depending how I'm feeling. I've already done weights, so my shoulders and all that are a little bit sore, and you're probably best to do it in the other direction. Like, do your archery first and then do weights after. But it was just nice in the morning. I got a home gym, the sun was coming in, and that's what I did. And I had to make these arrows, right? So pretty happy with that. So with that, I just move in. I haven't done a bare shaft test here. The thing I like about it, the arrows are all coming straight. There's no left or rights. They look pretty good. Very, very happy. So I'm going to say, when you're thinking about buying arrow shafts, the difference between expensive and cheap. And what I'm going to say, I'm not talking Eastern versus Pandarus versus Skyline versus Victory versus another brand, right? I'm not talking that. The difference tends to be very little between cheap and expensive. However, spine, if you're shooting recurve, may be a thing that does make a difference. I found that when I get the correct spine and the arrows are all perfectly matched, it's just amazing. I just feel it feels great, and it's like archery is effortless. Still effort, but it's just a lot easier, right? When you get everything matched. The problem is when I get everything matched, I'm like, oh, let's go up in poundage because I'm shooting so well now, and I've got to do it all again, and it takes me time to get everything to work again. So, and it does take me time. So, and next time I think I'm going to just grab a different bow. This bow will remain unchanged. So the next time I go up in poundage, I'll just grab another bow and just do it. That way I can go back to this bow with these arrows and know, well, that's a standard. So because I do want to go up in strength again, I do want to build. People go and say, well, why do you want to build in strength and all this? Because that's the progression. The progression is to get stronger, get fitter, get healthier, eat better. It's an improvement. Next year I'll be stronger than I was right now. I will be healthier than I am right now. It's a progression. I don't want to go backwards. I don't want to go, oh, I shoot 36 pounds. No, I want to go, I shoot higher poundage. I've got to shoot more often to maintain that. It puts more pressure on me. It's more drive. I want that. That's the goal. I want to get stronger. I want to get better. So that's my drive. If your drive is to shoot 36 pounds forever and go down the club and be a social archer, that's okay. And I'm not going to say you can't win with 36 pounds. I'm going to say for me, the drive is to get stronger, get fitter, get healthier. Right? That's the goal. And if I can have some success with archery in the meantime through the work I put in, well, that's fantastic. That's just where I'm at. So, all right. Now I'm going to shoot some scores. Okay, so I just want to follow up on the new arrows. So I shot 3 lots of indoors yesterday with those new arrows. So from the video, and my scores were 282, 282, and 279. Not in that order. 282, 279, 282. The 282 is the highest score I've shot in, when I say a while, as far back as I can remember. So I've shot 285 last year in the Nationals. I shot 291 before surgery, and I think I've shot a 287 at some stage. But 288, 282, I'm pretty happy with. My form's not great still. Muscles are still building and all that sort of stuff. But the arrow is much more consistent than the 500 spine. So it's just that half a spine difference. And whether it's changing the pressure button to make it a little bit lighter, I don't know, but the arrow's grouped a lot better. It doesn't mean I didn't make a bad shot, because I clearly shot a blue in the 272. So a bad shot's still a bad shot. So it's not like arrows are going to buy you points, although they did buy me points, but a bad shot is still a bad shot. I can't stress that enough. So you've still got to shoot well, and arrow spine, I found with a recurve, is very critical. So I found it's worth trying stuff, although different expensive arrows I found didn't change my scores, but getting the right spine arrow for your bow does make a difference. But it's and I want to say it's a small difference, but if you're miles out with spine, then it's a huge difference. So probably worth checking out. I'm Stephen Hand, thanks for watching.